Hey everyone, and welcome to an episode of Sorted. We're going to start working on some of those map run-throughs that I kind of promised you guys when I talked about rolling maps a while back. So I'm going to lead you in this video through the process of selecting a map, rolling the map, doing the map, and at the end of it, we're going to look at some different items, and I'm going to kind of show you maybe like some pricing and things like that if RNG is kind to me, or at the very least you'll get to see kind of how I divide up things. So go here, we're just going to start at the beginning, so we'll just grab this Crypt map. Now since this is a level 68 map, I don't plan on using any chisels on it, simply because it's not worth the 4 chisel investment. It's worth more than the map by quite a bit, and the main reason that you would chisel maps is to drive the quality up to get more items out of it, and in hopes of getting more maps. But 69 and 70 maps are cheap too, so there's no point in really doing it. Now arguably you might not even want to alk it, but I'm gonna go ahead and alk it. And as you can see, I got 106% item quantity on it, so that's pretty decent actually. Plus 40% rarity. Yeah, so it already had a little bit of quality on it, which is going to help. The affixes are patches of chilled ground, more monster life, avoid status ailments, can't be stunned, they poison on hit, and 2 unique bosses. So, knowing what I know about Crypt, that should not be a challenge at all for this particular build, which is a Chaos Inoculation Incinerate build that uses 100% Chaos damage through the use of Consuming Dark Dagger and Infernal Mantle. It's pretty good build, but I don't know if I would run it as a beginner. So anyways, I mean, if you get interested, I can always give you the link to the build. I did not come up with the build, it is not my build, but it is a build that I enjoy playing. Okay, so we just throw out the map device and we jump in. Now we only have 6 portals, so we're going to want to keep that in mind. Now the frost on the ground is a bit of a pain in the butt, because when we're in the frost on the ground it makes us cast slower. So whenever possible I'm going to try to whirling blades and set myself up in places where I'm not standing in it. But being that this is a level 68 map and not really very dangerous at all, it's not a huge deal. Alright, so main things I'm going to be looking for in here to loot are going to be currency items, even as low as Scrolls of Wisdom and Portal Scrolls. I'm going to loot it all. Some people don't want to take the time to do that, and I completely understand that. They rationalize it by saying, well, hey, it's an opportunity cost. The time that you spend looting those lower currency types, you could just be, running the map. I mean, there's other versions of that too. Some people, all they do when they run maps is they just pick up uniques and rare items that they know the base can be good. And I just got disconned. Fantastic. This has been a problem since I moved into my new office. I moved into my new office and I have been getting discons probably 4 or 5 times a day. Sometimes I'll go a while without getting one, but yeah, it's kind of a bummer. So that means that portal is now gone, but no big deal. So you get to see here, I only have a few things. What I do, I don't ID everything. I don't ID it on the spot. I don't ID it when I come back in my portal. I put it in a place called Map Dump, which you can see I already have some things in the Map Dump that are left from my last map that I, forgot to do. So let's turn back on our aura and our Arctic armor and go back in. So that's a shame, but hopefully we won't get another discon. Alright, so what I was in the middle of talking about was some people just when they run maps just go straight for uniques and maps and rares with base item types that they know are what they want. Now that can be a little bit complex because it requires you to know what every base item type implicit is. So for like a beginner, I wouldn't really worry about that. Honestly, as a beginner, I would be picking up all yellows and all currency and all blues. See, there's the bosses right there, and you can see this isn't really even doing anything to my health. So we got a Platinum Chris and quite a bit of loot here. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna go through here and I'm gonna pick up all these yellows. I'm gonna pick up all the currency, and my loot filter, which is the Never Sink loot filter, also highlights out any blue items that are tricolor linked. So I'm gonna pick those up too. Now, of course, I'll pick up any items that are 6-socketed, any items that are 5-linked, and any items that are 6-linked as well. Okay, so what I'm gonna do first, this is just how I do it, I just try to maximize as much as I can, especially in a map that I have high quant on, because I know that my portals are a finite resource and that I can run out of them. So I want to organize this up as best as I can. For some people, I could totally see them being, oh my god, that's way too much micro. And if you're like that, then by all means, you don't have to do this. But this is just how I do it, and it's worked pretty well for me. So that's going to be all we're going to be able to grab. So we're going to go ahead and port out. So as you can see, we have 4 portals left since we ripped that one. And I'm going to go to my first map dump tab. And I'm going to dump everything in here. Please quit spamming yourself on and offline. It's so annoying. Alright, back into the crypt, and we'll grab the rest of our stuff. And as you can see, yeah, that filled us up pretty well. Alright, so got a strongbox here. It's already rare, so we're not going to have to chance orb, but I normally carry chance orbs with me to throw onto certain kinds of boxes that are white, because I want to try to chance a unique strongbox. But as a beginner, I probably wouldn't worry about that. So we're gonna wisdom it, and it says cast Scythe Nova freezes when activated, but we're gonna negate that through our Dream Fragments, yeah. Contains identified items +1 to chest level. So if this would have rolled a little bit higher on chest level, I might not Veil Orb this, because it could spew out some maps, but since this is level 68 anyways, and even if it rolled like +5 to chest level, it's only going to give me 73 maps, and those are cheap too. They're like maybe a chisel each. I'm just going to go ahead and Veil Orb it. Now the reason that you Veil Orb the strongboxes is because it gives you a much, much higher chance of getting a 6-link. It's something like 1 in 36 or something. It's a ridiculously, now don't quote me on that. It's a ridiculously improved chance of getting 6 links. I can say this with certainty because I've read it quite a few times, and also I've seen it. Yesterday in one map I got 2 6 links out of boxes. So yeah. Alright, so we're gonna pop it and then just Whirling Blades out. Now as you can see, I waited a second there instead of Whirling Blades right out because I have Fortify hooked up to my Whirling Blades, so I actually kind of want to whirl through things. Now we didn't get a 6-link, that's a shame, but we did get some yellows that we can use. Now the reason I pick up all of these yellows is because I do the Chaos recipe, and I highly, highly recommend that you do it as well, especially if you're a new player. It is a great way to make a small amount of currency while you're mapping. And, new players, a lot of times they don't really know how to price up yellows. I mean, if you're good at parsing data, like digging through data, you can definitely make use of sites like PoE.trade. The only thing is there's an awful lot of things to comb through on there, and just because something is priced at a certain price on PoE.trade really has no bearing at all on the actual value of the item. Generally with unique items, it's easier to price things on PoE.trade because they're a little bit more standardized in their price. But with yellows, just because of the sheer amount of possible combinations that you can get on a yellow, it can be really, really difficult to price items. So don't feel bad if you're a new player and you struggle with pricing yellow items. I've been playing Path of Exile off and on for probably 2 to 2.5 years now, I think. And you know, I still sometimes struggle with pricing yellow items. I'm not ashamed to admit that. Alright, so as you can see, because of the fact that this is a level 68 map, we're not really having any issue clearing this. This build is pretty strong. I am level, I think, 83. So the build itself is almost completely finished. About the only thing with this build that would improve it would be if I had my Infernal Mantle dolled up a little bit more. So, but anyways, point being, Crypt map is not difficult, guys. It's not a difficult map. The boss just basically, if you're like lower level and ranged, you just want to stay at range from the boss. The boss can curse you. So what I'd probably do, I mean, it was kind of hard to talk strategy there because I ran into the bosses and just kind of obliterated them, but what I would do is I would probably make a circle around the boss, try to keep the boss kind of in the middle, and kill off all the extra ads first, and then kill the boss for this one. And if you're melee, same thing. I would try to take out all the other ads first instead of going after the boss. Okay, so we're down to 2 portals because of that discon earlier. So what I'm likely going to do, what I normally do when I get down to 2 portals, is I go into a little bit of what I call conservation mode. And what that means is I am not going to be going back when I get full. Instead, I will start identifying on the spot things that are like very, very large items. Typically like 2-handed weapons will get identified, maybe chests, and 1-handed weapons that are larger. I'll identify those first because they take up the most amount of room. Now normally, this isn't really a problem. Normally about 6 portals is exactly what I end up using. And that's pretty much looting everything that's worth looting. Now, I am going to grab this Agate Amulet, and the reason for doing that is because this is easy money. You can sell these white amulets to people who are trying to chance them for Vol's Devotion. Probably somewhere around 7 to 1. And it takes up hardly any room in your bag. Just set aside a tab in your stash and collect a few and then sell them. And I guarantee somebody will buy them at 7 or even 6 to 1. It just depends. You can also do that with leather belts because people are trying to chance headhunters. Or if you're feeling lucky, I mean, you could try to do that. But if you're a new player, I wouldn't advise it. The odds of chancing uniques are pretty damn low. And with the Vol's Devotion and the Headhunter, specifically, because they are, at least I know with the Headhunter, it was a league-specific unique. So what that means is that you actually have to use the Xana map mod to roll that league onto the map. So as you can see, those frost patches on the ground are really super annoying, even for me with Whirling Blades. But Whirling Blades is like a game changer, really. Once you play with something like Whirling Blades or Lightning Warp, and it's linked up properly, you really will feel the difference in all of your other characters. Right. There shouldn't be a awful lot more with this map, I don't think. So what I'm doing there with that item rarity that leveled up, I don't have that linked into any of my skills that I'm actually using. I'm leveling that on my offhand set. And that's something that you can do starting at a very low level that can potentially make you a little bit of extra currency if you are faithful with it. Is you can, let me just show you. Oop, after I kill the spider. You see, I've got, this is my second set of weapons, and I've got 2 Aberrats, well actually Aberrats and a Twizzle, but it doesn't really matter just as long as you can equip them. And I have an Empower that I'm leveling, a Spell Echo, an Enlighten, Item Rarity, Incinerate, Iron Will. Now, some of these I'm leveling for use. Some of them I'm actually leveling to sell. Like this Spell Echo, when it hits level 20, what I'll probably do is I'll probably take a GCP and sell it to the vendor and get a 20 quality Spell Echo. I might use it or I might just sell it. Same thing with the Item Rarity, and the Iron Will is already 13% quality. So once I get it to level 20 with 13% quality, I might just buy 7 GCP for like 14C, and I could probably sell this thing for a couple Exalt as a 2020. Somebody will probably buy it up and then Veil Orb it. Oh, need to change my weapons back. That would have been funny. Okay, so I know that there's a damn it, man. I know that there's a little bit more left in this map. So once we clear out, I always try to clear down to, if you type remaining, you can see it'll tell you more than 20 monsters remain, or if it's under 20, it will actually tell you how many there are. I always try to get down under that. Where are they? Aha, they're all the way over there. I'm gonna go ahead and port out because I'm not too worried about it. It's probably not gonna be anything worth a darn because this is such a low level map, and some uniques are gated behind item level. Plus I kind of want to show you guys how I evaluate stuff. Alright, or how I value stuff. Alright, so everything's in the map dump now. We're finished up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Scrolls of Wisdom, I'm going to hold down left shift, right click it, and then I'm just going to go through here, being careful not to identify blue items like this one. And I'm going to identify everything. Now, you want to keep your shift button held down so you don't have to continually click. And then you just shift, keep the shift down, click the next tab, and I normally just go ahead and do it both tabs at the exact same time. Mark of the Doubting Knight. Blech. Alright. I'm only 13. Okay. So, normally what I do is kind of the same thing with when I'm running through the map. I go through the bigger stuff first, and then I'll fill in the gaps down at the bottom with the, like the 4 square stuff. So, start with this shield. I'm looking at this shield, and it's only got 4 properties on it. Okay. It does have a little bit of life. It's got, looks like about 39 plus 40, 79 resist on it, 58 life. It's probably not worth anything because it doesn't have any plus to armor on it. The armor is just simply too low. If the life roll was higher, we could get like a few chaos out of it, but as it is right now, it's not worth anything. If it was closer to the start of the league, then maybe. And it does have 20% chaos resistance on it, but honestly, it's just the life is too low on it, and it doesn't have any armor. So that's going to go into the vendor. Okay, so this is a Tiger Hook. You know, IPD is really low. It's got decent strength, but overall, it's just a mess. Okay, that's just going to go for a chromatic. Low rolls. Again, low rolls. When you look at a weapon, what you're really looking for IPD, you're looking for something like 140 plus, 150 plus. You know, the higher the better. And with an open, or if it already has the flat physical on it, then you're golden. You know, if it's a high enough roll. If it doesn't, if the IPD is high enough, you still might be able to sell it for something, but so we got a little bit more space here that we could put like a rapier or something into, or this sai. Yeah, just nothing there. Low rolls. Okay, this helmet, no. It's just not there. So far, this is a big bust. So the first thing I'm going to do, all of this stuff is going to be item level 68, 69, or 70, so it would be useful for our chaos recipe. And as you can see here, I have 3 tabs set aside for the chaos recipe, because I do enough maps to where I flip this stuff pretty regularly. The main constraint you're going to have is going to be jewelry, specifically rings. So yeah, if you were only trying to do it like one tab, you'd probably be selling a lot of stuff that you could use for chaos recipe. I mean, I still end up vendoring a lot of stuff, and you know, I have those 3 tabs. So okay, so we don't have chest belt or boots, weapons or jewelry. We do have, no, we don't have it. I typically go for the large 2-handed stuff here, but you know, you could go a different direction. This helm, yes, we have space. Okay, so it looks like just that. And then after I'm sure that I can't use them for any kind of recipe, I'll come over here and sell it all. And then I'm going to go back to map dump the currency back in, and start evaluating again. So we see this has a really low life roll. It's got a good lightning roll and kind of a middling fire roll, but it's a chest, and in this meta a lot of times in-game builds aren't using chests, so I know that this is not going to sell for anything. You know, this one, you know, it's got okay fire resist, but that's really all it has. This one actually has a pretty good plus evasion and a decent strength roll on it, and it even has a little bit of the percentile roll and some life. Unfortunately, with the chest meta, it has to be a really good chest for it to sell for even anything. Nope. Okay, so we're out of big stuff in that one. We'll go here. This one is corrupted, so it basically means it can't be crafted onto, and it's poop. So we're gonna sell it. And then this thing here, cast speed's good, mana's okay, everything else, poop. Let's look at these gloves. Nope. Nope. And nope. I typically wait on jewelry and I look at it last, because jewelry never ends up getting sold to the vendor unless it's part of a recipe. So like what I do at the end is I take all the currency back out, flasks and things like that, and then I dump them in the tabs for them. You'll see that. Okay, so this helm is a little intriguing. It does have a little bit of increased item rarity, and that's been very hot this league. And it is tri-res, but it's not very good. The fire roll's it's kind of meh. The cold roll is good, and the lightning roll is just absolutely dog shit terrible. So, you know, what could be done to this helm? Well, we know that resist rolls are suffixes, so it has 2 open prefixes. We could bench it, and we could put life on it, and we could probably get like 40 or 50 life on it, which is going to cost us 4 chaos by itself. And we could use it ourselves, but the thing is, we could probably buy a helm like this with life on it for less than it would cost to craft the life onto the helm ourselves. So this kind of helm is a really, really strong candidate to get thrown into the chaos recipe tab, and here's why. I use a program called acquisition. Other people use a program called procurement. And what it lets you do is it lets you sell things through your stash tabs. It runs a program that looks at all your stash tabs, and it goes to the website on the forums, and it looks at your shop thread, and it keeps it updated with what you have in different shop tabs. Now, as you can see, I have a bunch of tabs here where I'm selling things, alts, fuses, X's, yeah, etc., etc. But also something that I do is anything that's in these chaos recipe tabs, I have listed for sale for the equivalent of 1 chaos. I have them listed for 2 fuse. It's entirely possible that somebody could come along on PoE.trade, see that helm, and they could say, these are the exact resistances that I need. So they might actually give 2 fuse for it. It's possible. I have the same thing set up for my Regals. My Regal recipe is set up, everything in here sells for 4 fuse. So, alright. So let's go back to our map dump tab. This video is running a little long, but that's okay. This helmet has a little bit of life, has some armor, does have a decent item rarity roll, but yeah, in terms of the other affixes on it, the life regen per second, I think is a little bit of an underappreciated affix, but it is what it is. And increased stun recovery, bleh. So that's gonna get sold.
What do you need?
Which actually, hold on. I didn't check my chaos tabs. Okay, so this stuff needs to go in here. So as you can see, you fill up these tabs exceptionally quick.
Ready for the hunt?
Alright. Alright, so this staff, you know, it's all kinds of mixed up. It's hard to find good weapons because they can either be caster focused or they can be melee focused. So a lot of times you end up having a weapon that has a few good affixes on it, and then it's got like 3 other affixes that are for a completely different build type, so it just ruins it. This shield has not rolled very well. That's for chromatic, that's for chromatic. This does have decent IPD on it. Unfortunately, it has a really bad cold damage roll. It does have some crit chance. Not a good amount of crit chance. And some reduced enemy stun threshold, which is not applicable. This one's kind of borderline. I mean, you know, there's a chance you could get maybe a few chaos out of this, in my estimation. You know, I mean, we could run it over to the bench just to see what could go on it. And it can take flat physical. So, you know, I could spend 2C and hope for 13 to 20 to go on it. With the increased physical damage, I think that would mean, like, if it hit 13 to 20, it would actually end up adding, you know, I think like 28 to 45. So now, you know, you're looking at a bit more physical damage. But, you know, this far into the league, I just don't see that selling. This wand, you know, just not enough on it. I mean, if it had maybe like cast speed on it, you know, then it might be okay. And we could bench the cast speed on it, but it's not going to be high enough to do anything with. Mana regen would also work really well on that. It just doesn't have enough affixes. Boots do have cold resistance and movement speed. That's something. Ooh, and the temporal chain skill. Yeah, well, on boots, typically, unless you just get like a insanely high life roll with like tri-res, if it doesn't have movement speed, unfortunately, it's probably just not going to sell. So, you know, and these just don't have enough going for them. This claw, you know, it's got some. Those 4 affixes are actually pretty good. Unfortunately, it's not enough attack speed. It's not enough crit chance. The mana regen's not bad at all, but it's just not enough. I mean, that's kind of the story. Most of the yellows that you find are, you know, that's what you're going to be thinking in your head. If it just had this, you know, if it just had this. So I mean, that's just, you know, that's why you just have to run maps and run maps and run maps, and, you know, just basically you just want to be faithful, because I mean, everything's RNG, and on a long enough timeline, everybody dies. So there you go. Interesting. So this mace, you can see an example here of some really mixed up shit. So it's an elemental damage mace, anyways. And then it rolls a decent spell damage. Okay, but then it rolls 140% IPD. So already that's a problem. and then increased cold damage, and then cast speed. So, you know, if it would have went, you know, the physical damage way, then okay, but it, you know, it didn't. So, and if the physical damage wasn't there and it had, you know, a different affix on it, it might be something I could do something with, but it's just too mixed up. This helmet just doesn't have what we're looking for. These gloves are also poo. These are also poo. They do have a good life roll, but other than that, it's not worth. So that, yeah, that's all the big stuff, I believe. So let's check our tabs here. So we're all full on that now, except for belts. Belts are also a choke point. So now what I do is I'm actually going to come back through here and drag everything out. Which, this is a bit more than what you would normally see, because I forgot to do this in my last map. I got distracted. So the first thing I do is I just have all my currency up here in 3 different tabs. You can name them whatever you want. I just put $signs, and you can see, you know, least expensive to most expensive, or valuable, I guess. And I just go through here and I hold down Control and just click them over. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then periodically what I'll do, maybe like once or twice a day, depending on how much I've actually been playing, I'll come back through and I'll reorganize everything to where the full stacks are all together. It just makes it easier for me to keep track of how much I have, even though I can actually pull it up with acquisition. And you can also do it with procurement very, very easily. I don't know, I'm kind of like Scrooge McDuck. I like to look at it and like wring my hands and go, yes, yes, lots of currency. So, which actually I don't have a ton of currency, but I'm pretty comfortable considering everything that I do have. Alright, I do have a quality flasks tab. I pick up any flasks that are qualitied, and then once this fills up, I vendor them all for glassblower's baubles. Oh. That's not the right tab. So as you can see, it actually fills up pretty quickly. And then we'll go here to Chaos, Weapons, and Jewelry, and we're going to look at this stuff. So this has a base of increased rarity of items found, but it's really low. It does have a really good elemental damage roll on it, and a decent life roll, and a decent fire roll, and some cast speed. Unfortunately, the cast speed and the elemental damage with weapons, they're kind of like at loggerheads. You know, this is something, it's a level 74. You know, I'll drop it in here, and maybe somebody will put it in an offer and try to buy it for, you know, 2 fuse. This one is just absolutely, you can see the rolls are very low. It's very poor. Okay, decent stats on it. The added lightning damage is not a bad roll, but the fire resistance is not very high. Life gain on kill isn't something that people normally look for, so not going to be able to sell that for much. This one is just a plethora of low rolls. Okay, iron rings, just I don't typically have much luck with iron rings, simply because the implicit, the base on it is just not something that people really look for. And this amulet, not well rolled enough. It does have that increased armor, which is okay, but everything else just doesn't really work with it. Let's see, what else do we have here? Okay, so now I will go down here and I'll drop off my divination card, the gambler. One more. I need one more so that I can get another scholar card. Hooray! And then I'm going to look at my maps here. So I've got some maps here. I've got my 69 map here. So I'm just going to throw it in there. So it looks like pretty soon my 69s I'm going to have to like go through and set up some 3-ofs and sell off. The pit. Another arcade, huh? Yeah, my 69s runneth over. And then I've got some 73s here. Now we're going back the other dry woods, huh? Coves. Got a lot of 72s and 73s as well. My map pool's been a little weird this league because I've spent less time trying to actually like build up a base and progress, and more time actually just chasing 4 dots. So, all right. So here's my agate tab. I sold not too awful long ago, and then Mark of the Doubting Knight. You know, I'm just gonna toss it in my unique stash. Who knows? I might get a wild hair one day and make a build with it. Although I doubt it. And then I'll drop this in here. And I've got some gems here. So typically what I do with my gems is, some people just completely disregard gems because it is a bit of a time sink. But you can make decent scratch as a new player selling gems. So typically what I do is I go into acquisition and I look and see how many of each gem I have. And I've got 3 different places that I put gems. First of all, I have my own stash. I have green, red, and blue. And I try to keep 1 of each gem in here. Maybe 2 of certain kinds, like curse on hit, cast on damage taken, things that are going to be used on all characters. After that, if I already have that filled up, then what I do is I will price them. My cheapest gems are going to be 6 alts. You can see I have quite an array, and I try to keep 1 of each kind in here. I don't want to keep more than 1. And the reason is, this is really just my shop front. This is what people can search on PoE.trade, but it's what I don't actually sell out of this unless it's the only place that I have it. What I actually try to do is I sell out of this overflow stash tab. Yes, it's a little bit complicated and there is some work involved in it, but I generally make, you know, I make a little bit of money every day selling gems. And yeah. Or you can just sit in trade and, you know, make a little bit of money doing it that way too. And then, failing that, they all go down here into 69 and I use them for crafting. So looking at these, Lightning Warp, I already know, I have a ton of those. Leap Slam, yeah. Cast on Melee Kill. Actually, that one I might actually need to put in Overflow. Faster Projectiles, I think I actually need. So I think I just used it on a different character. I can check. Faster Projectiles. Nope. So I did need it. And then Veil Spectral Throw. I usually save all the Veil gems unless it's a one that I just know is worth a good amount of money. Save them up and then I will vendor 7 of them with a sacrifice piece to make a Veil Orb, since it is kind of hard to get Veil Orbs these days. Okay, so yeah. So this video went a little bit longer than I thought, but I had a lot to say. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment on this video, or you can also find me in-game. Just search for Nerdstalgic, and I'll have no problem talking to you, hanging out with you, and answering any questions that you have. I'm by no means an expert, but I have played for quite a while, and generally, if it's something that I don't know about, I can find the answer. I'm pretty good at finding answers to things. So anyways, I hope that this video has helped you in some way, and just let me know. And sometime in the near future, I will do another video for another 68 map. So that was Crypt. That was how I kind of evaluate items and such. We didn't really get anything worth anything out of there, but that's okay. That's kind of the way it goes. So, all right, until next time, folks, game on.